Just imagine everything you set your hands to really does prosper and succeed. Why? Because you have the advantage. Or imagine doors of favor and opportunity opening up for you. Why? Because you have the advantage. I want to talk to you about what the advantage is and how to obtain it. Hi, I'm Terri Savelle, and you're watching Live Your Dreams. I pray that as you invest in yourself today, you're captivated and you're catapulted to live your dreams. In fact, I want to share with you something today that you don't hear a lot of, like ever. In fact, I was sharing this message with my daughter the other night, who's 20 years old, and she said, Mom, I never hear messages like this, other than from like her papa, Jerry Savelle, or Kenneth Copeland. She said, I never hear teaching like this. But the thing is, I believe that this is the turning point. It's the deal breaker. It's the game changer in causing you to experience your greatest breakthroughs and truly live your dreams. Now, first of all, this is a phrase I heard years ago when I was in the pit, so to speak. I mean, crawling out, trying to discover what in the world does God want me to do with my life? Does he even have anything for me to do? How do I get vision? How do I get restoration in my life? How do I find peace in my mind or wake up with ambition to want to pursue anything? And this was the phrase I heard. It said, things will never be right around you until they're first right in you. I'll repeat that. Things will never be right around you until they're first right in you. Well, then I heard this statement, that God will change your circumstances, but he'll change you first. And I remember thinking, why is all the focus on me? I want everything around me to change. But here's the thing. Let me just share with you the thing that can produce the greatest breakthroughs in your life and end up changing your circumstances like nothing else. Now, this is something that my dad, Jerry Savelle, learned from Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth Copeland learned from Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts, I think he just learned it from God himself. I'm really not sure. But I believe it enabled them to live extraordinary lives. And once I began to put emphasis on it in my own life, it has taken me from a mess, from ordinary circumstances to extraordinary opportunities. And these vital principles that I'm going to share with you that I learned from my dad, I saw him live it out. I mean, I saw my parents go from poverty, in debt, failing in business, to being debt-free, having favor nearly everywhere he goes, no exaggeration, being given opportunities that people dream of. And as I learned these keys, these principles, whatever you want to call it, it's taken our ministry, fairly young still, from obscurity to having a worldwide TV broadcast, millions of YouTube views, testimonies from around the world in such a short time. And the thing is, I don't take it for granted. I am so grateful, but I'm not an isolated case. I believe this message today is for you. And I've never shared this before on a broadcast until we just recently, started this teaching. But I only taught this one time ever at a Christian success conference. Now, it was based for, entrepreneurs and leaders, where we were teaching the practical keys to success first. In other words, steps to take in the natural, like vision and goal setting and things like that. But this, today, what I want to share with you, this is where I believe the supernatural takes over and it catapults your life to a whole new level. So, this message, I believe it's something, when you grab hold of this teaching, I believe it'll save you years of struggling to try to get ahead. It'll save you tons of money that could be wasted. It'll save relationships from being ruined and even save reputations from being absolutely destroyed. This truly gives you what I call the advantage. You might say, okay, Terri, what is it? Well, in one word, it's integrity. In other words, if you want to guarantee success, of course your attitude's important, vision's important, goal setting, motivation, consistency, all of those things are so important. But this single attribute has the ability to accelerate your life or absolutely destroy your life, and that's integrity. So what is integrity? Well, it just means that what you say and what you do, they match. In other words, you're the same in front of people as you are when nobody's looking. You follow through with what you say. In other words, you keep your word. I've heard, integrity defined as just trust. that we trust people who have integrity. Well, I believe integrity is the advantage that can bring the increase you desire, the promotion you're believing God for, or maybe it's a breakthrough that you desperately need and you just feel like, what is missing? Why am I not getting my breakthrough? Well, it could be that we just need to kick it up a notch in the area of integrity. In fact, Oprah Winfrey said this. She said, real integrity is doing the right thing knowing that nobody's going to know whether you did it or not. But here's the thing. God knows. He sees everything. And when He sees you demonstrate integrity in private, He will promote you in public. But the opposite is true also. When we continually lack integrity in our private life, we could end up paying for it in public. I heard somebody say, a lack of integrity is your biggest expense. And if you don't believe it, you look at someone like Lance Armstrong. And, I don't like emphasizing the bad in someone's life and the sad stories, but, he admits it and talks about it even today. How, at the height of his career, he's on cloud 9. Lance lost 7 of his Tour de France titles. The International Olympic Committee, they took his 2000 Summer Games medal, his bronze medal, took it away from him. The Livestrong Foundation asked him to resign from the board. He said, I got one phone call after another from sponsors who had made him one of the sporting world's richest endorsers. Every single one of them parted ways with him, didn't want anything to do with him. In fact, Lance Armstrong said, I don't like thinking about it. He said that was, a $75 million day. And then he said this, this is ugly stuff. Well, a lack of integrity is our biggest expense, or having integrity is our greatest asset. In fact, I believe having integrity brings rewards and benefits like nothing else. And before I go any further, I just want to say this, because this morning, when I was just praying about the taping today, I just felt like something was missing in what I was wanting to teach. And I just felt like the Lord reminded me how, you may have made a lot of mistakes in your life, like I know I have. There's so many parts of my life and seasons of my life. I wish I could just highlight it and push delete and just pretend it never happened. And it can cause you to feel so much shame and guilt and humiliation, and you just feel like, well, I guess I blew it. I can't have this life of integrity because I've already blown it. But I was reminded of David in the Bible. The Bible records how David committed adultery, he committed murder. He had all this unconfessed sin in his life. And then the Bible talks about how when he came clean before God, he said, my iniquity I did not hide. He just came before the Lord and just confessed his sin. The next verse says, God instantly forgave him the guilt and the iniquity of his sin. And then later in life, we see how God described David as, that's a man after my own heart. Now, this is the same guy who committed adultery and murder, and God's saying, that's a man after my own heart. In other words, God can restore your reputation. He can restore integrity as being a part of who you are. So you haven't blown it. Your best days aren't behind you. Let's say your worst days are behind you, and believe that from here on, starting today, we can adapt that lifestyle of integrity. So just imagine easily and confidently hearing God's voice, knowing which direction to take for your life, which job to pursue, which house to purchase, which spouse to marry, which investment to make. Those are benefits of having integrity. In fact, in Proverbs 11:3, it says, the integrity of the upright will guide them. So you can have guidance for every decision you need to make when you have integrity. That's an advantage, isn't it? In fact, I read this story about this father and son who went out fishing. They said, they loved to fish. Every chance they got, they would go to the family's cabin right there, on the lake in New Hampshire. And this was years ago. They said on the day before bass season opened, the son and the father were out there fishing early one evening. They're catching sunfish and perch and stuff like that. Well, all of a sudden, the son's pole just doubled over, and he knew this is a big one. Well, the dad was watching the little guy. He's struggling. He's pulling in this big catch. It was the largest fish he had ever seen, but it was a bass. So the dad said he grabbed his flashlight, he turns it on, he puts it on his watch to see what time it was when he caught this bass. It was 10 o'clock p.m., exactly 2 hours before bass season opened at midnight. So he said to the son, you got to throw it back. Dad, the boy cried, and the dad said, there's going to be other fish. The little boy said, not as big as this one. So he said he looked around the lake. He said he didn't see any fishermen, no boats anywhere in sight. He looked at his dad, pleading with his eyes. Even though no one had seen them, nor would ever know what time they caught the fish, the son said he could tell from his father's tone that that decision was not negotiable. Well, the son said he took the hook out of the fish, he lowered it back in the water, but here's the thing. He said that was 34 years ago. Today, the son is a successful architect in New York City. His father's cabin is still there on the island by the lake. He said, now I take my own son and daughters fishing from the same dock. And he said he was right. He said, I have never again caught such a magnificent fish as I did that night long ago. But this is what he said. I do see that same fish again and again every time I come up against a question of ethics. His dad taught him that integrity is simply a matter of right and wrong. Do we do the right thing when nobody's looking? Well, we would if we were taught to put the fish back when we were young. Well, I love how that father modeled integrity, which affected the child forever. Well, here's the thing. People are watching you. They're observing. They're learning from you. But more importantly, God is watching us. And God's the one who said, when you're faithful in the little, you'll be ruler over much. Well, one definition of integrity is honor. In fact, I want to share with you 4 powerful keys that I believe if we ignore them, we could be missing out on our greatest breakthroughs. And one of them, real quick, is honor with your words. Honor with the words of your mouth. I don't have a lot of time to go into this, but what I mean is guarding the way you talk about people. When we talk bad about people, we're literally sowing seed for people to talk bad about us. When we put people down, we make fun of people, we're sowing seed for people to make fun of us, to put us down. And there's a scripture actually in Numbers 12, verse 1. It says, then Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses. The very next verse says this, and the Lord heard it. In other words, God's listening to the way we honor or dishonor with the words of our mouth, or we're just demonstrating a lack of integrity. In fact, the president of the power team, Todd Keene, he called me one day and he said, Terri, I just wanted you to know I overheard some people talking about you. I'm thinking, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know what they said. He goes, yeah, I was sitting in the back of the car and these people from Lakewood Church were driving me to the conference and they started talking about you. He said, I told him, I said, hey, I'm friends with Terri. I'm thinking, Todd, why are you telling me this? He said, I just wanted you to know that they said you were their favorite guest speaker. He said, I want you to know people are talking good about you behind your back. I thought that's a good reputation. Get into a habit of talking good about people behind their back. I said to Todd, tell me more. No, but I just want you to realize that you're honoring or dishonoring with the words of your mouth. Now, when we come back, I'm going to share with you 3 more keys that, like I said, if we ignore them, we could be missing out on our greatest breakthroughs.
You can prosper and succeed when others struggle and worry because you have an advantage. You can enjoy new opportunities and favor when others are stuck in a rut because you have an advantage. As a thank you for your ministry gift of any amount, Terri would like to send you her vital teaching, The Advantage. You'll discover the benefits and blessings that come from a life of integrity, practical ways to develop this advantage in your life, how success and breakthroughs can be hindered or accelerated, and much more. Don't go another day limited or confused when God has so much more for you. Get The Advantage today by calling toll-free 888-844-7933 or visit us at terri.com. And with your ministry donation of any amount, we'll send you this valuable resource as our thank you for your generous support. Call or go online today to get the advantage that brings promotion, rewards, and success.
Hey, so we're talking about the advantage. I believe it is the single attribute that will lead to promotion, reward, and success, and breakthroughs like never before. In fact, I'm sharing with you some of the powerful and practical keys to gaining the advantage. No matter where you are in life, if you've made a lot of mistakes in the past, which I know I have, God is such a God of restoration. He's saying, don't look at all the years you've lost. Let's look at the years you've got left. Let's gain that advantage by just little by little starting to develop a life of integrity. So I've got 3 more powerful keys I want to share with you in order to help you gain the advantage. The second one out of the 4 we're teaching is to honor where you are right now. Now, what does that mean? Honor where you are right now on the way to where you're going. In other words, wherever you are right now in your life, if you're working for someone else, honor them. Work for them the way you would have people work for you. Serve them, be on time, be excellent, go above and beyond. You know, I think about in my own life, for 22 years, I served my dad, mostly behind the scenes for at least half of those years. And I started out with, I would transcribe his cassette tapes. I would sit behind a desk for hours and hours, typing every single word of his messages. Then it led to writing books for him as a ghostwriter. Well, I had no idea God was preparing me to one day write books. I remember I worked as a correspondent in his prison ministry. I was learning, how to communicate and minister through letters to the inmates. Of course, I learned some lingo I didn't care to learn, but that's not my point. I was learning how to minister through letters, which prepared me to now minister through my partner letters. I wrote magazine articles, advertisements, postcards, things like that. Well, it was teaching me how to market and advertise my resources. I traveled on crusades. I would unload boxes, set up table displays, sell resources before and after services. We'd pack up the boxes. I'd count all the inventory. Well, it taught me sales and marketing. Then for almost 10 years, I co-hosted the TV show with my dad, which I had no idea was preparing me to one day host this show. Well, all that time, I had no idea God was preparing me to learn ministry inside and out. I was just honored to serve Him. Well, today, God has brought all these people to serve my vision. Well, I think about something I heard Stephen Furtick say that I love. He said, what's next is always connected to what's now. In other words, there's always a connection between what's next in your life and what's now in your life. So what you're doing now and how you're doing it is the most important thing about what God will give you next. And when you honor what God's doing right now, you'll be prepared for what's next. So your assignment right now is significant. So honor where you are, have integrity, because what you give out, it's going to come back to you. So be a person of honor and integrity, and that's exactly the kind of people God will bring to you. In fact, I love what Joel Osteen said. He said, the amount of honor that you show others will be directly related to the amount of favor God shows you. So honor where you are. That's part of developing the advantage. The third practical key here is to honor your mentors. Honor your mentors. For example, you could purchase like a new computer or an iPad or something, and you know it has all these functions, but you only know how to use about 5%. You know it's capable of so much more, but you just don't know how to access it, to take advantage of it. Well, you need a mentor. You need a counselor, a guidance, somebody helping you get the most out of it. Well, that's why God brings mentors and teachers and ministers into our life, is to mentor us, to show us how to get the most out of the life God's given us. Well, you may have heard someone say that the cheapest way to learn is to learn from someone else, learn from their mistakes. Well, 93% of the wealthiest people in the world, they attribute their success to their mentors. And everybody has mentors. Successful people have mentors. Audrey Hepburn, she was a mentor to Elizabeth Taylor. Christian Dior mentored Yves Saint Laurent. Ray Charles, he mentored Quincy Jones. Oprah Winfrey told Barbara Walters, she said, had there not been you, there would never have been me. Well, I think about even in my own life, Oral Roberts mentored Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth Copeland mentored my dad. My dad mentored me. Well, I think it's neat even to this day. There have been times we've checked in hotels at the conventions and seen, Mr. Copeland in the lobby. Dad still goes up and carries his luggage and wants to get him water. He serves him still. He speaks highly of him. He gives to his ministry. Well, those are all parts of showing integrity. Those are all traits of being a person of integrity. In fact, the Bible says that, the elders who direct the affairs of the church are worthy of double honor. That's showing honor. When you partner with someone, when you give, when you support, you're living a life of integrity. You're showing honor to God by blessing those who've mentored you. In fact, we always tell the Copelands their feet will forever be beautiful in the Savelle family. Why? Because they taught us the Word of God. Well, that's showing honor and living a life of integrity behind the scenes. And God always rewards that. And then the fourth way is we honor God. And you might say, well, Terri, that's an obvious. I mean, can't you give me something a little more deep? Well, I want to show you 3 ways that have proven to supernaturally bring growth and major increase to our ministry up here and in my personal life in these 3 ways that we honor God. One, of course, is honor Him with prayer. And of course, again, you might say, that's obvious. But do you know I read where the average pastor prays 4 minutes a day? The average pastor. Well, see, we tend to get that familiarity with God where, we refer to Him as the man upstairs, the big guy. People say things like, Jesus is my homeboy. He's really not our homeboy. He's the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Well, we can tend to get too familiar with things and even get that way with God and just little by little start to dishonor. It's like when you get a brand new car and you take such good care of it. Nobody's allowed to eat in it. You wipe things down. If you drop a crumb, you pick it up with your fingernail. Well, then little by little it gets cluttered and dirty and French fries stuck in the seat. Well, we can get that familiarity with God. But we have to schedule time to, just spend some time with the Lord every single day. In fact, the Bible says that He rewards those who diligently seek Him. So the more we honor Him, the more He honors us. The second way is honoring God with your money. Of course, Acts 20:35 says, it is more blessed to give than to receive. And what's amazing about God, the way God works is you can't give away something without God giving you more in return. And this is huge for us at this ministry. In fact, I heard a minister say, never start anything in your life, business, ministry, career without sowing a seed. And they said, our ministry isn't dependent on your offerings. Our ministry is dependent on our giving. Well, Proverbs connects financial giving with honoring the Lord. The Bible says, honor the Lord with your wealth, right? Well, I believe that key right there, giving, it will give you the advantage over everything to go to the next level. And then the third is honoring by fasting. Now, this is something you might say, okay, Terri, I've checked out. I don't want to hear this. But I'm telling you, this is a vital key to gaining the advantage in your life. Now, if you've been through things in your life where you're saying, I need my integrity restored, or I want my integrity to go to the next level because I know there are breakthroughs that I'm missing out on, these are the keys. I'm telling you, this can absolutely catapult your life to a whole new level. Here at our ministry, we do that every year. We take a 21-day fast. And we don't all fast the same things. We fast something that means something to us individually. And I love how Jensen Franklin explained this. He said, remember the 30-fold, the 60-fold, and the 100-fold that Jesus talked about in Mark chapter 4? He said, look at it this way. When you pray, you release the 30-fold return. When you pray and give, you release the 60-fold return. But when you pray, give, and fast, the 100-fold return will be released in your life. So I just want to say that real quick. In fact, I love this statement that when fasting is a lifestyle, poverty won't be. So just take what you feel like God's speaking to you about and start where you are. John Maxwell says it's not where you start, but whether you start. These are things that I know we can learn to take that advantage over the enemy and get advantage in your life. In fact, I want you to get this so much that we're giving you this as a gift for any amount, any donation that you feel like God's put on your heart. We want to give this to you because I want you to enjoy the life that God has for you. And you can do that when you practice a lifestyle of integrity. That is the advantage. Oh, and let me just say, this is our last week to offer this. So take advantage of that today. But here's the thing. God is always watching. He's eagerly waiting to promote you. Just imagine everything you set your hands to, it prospers and succeeds. Why? Because you have integrity. Imagine doors of favor, doors of opportunity being open to you. Why? Because people trust you and your word because you have the advantage. You have integrity. Or going to sleep, with a clear conscience because you're the same in front of people as you are when nobody's looking. That's the kind of lifestyle we want to get to. We want to live. And I'm telling you, you're going to have confidence on the outside because you have integrity on the inside. And God's going to start giving you opportunities that you don't even feel qualified for, but because God's been watching you behind the scenes, you're practicing this life of integrity to the best of your ability, you're going to be prepared for greatness. So it's easy to order this. Just call the number on the screen, or you can go online, order it at Terri.com, and we will send this directly to your doorstep. Get it there as soon as possible, because I want you to learn these traits and these behavior patterns of the most successful people that we admire. They have the advantage. And what is the advantage? It's integrity. When others are frustrated, they're struggling, they're confused, they're discouraged, you're going to be chosen, set apart, favored, and given preferential treatment. You're going to save years of struggling to get ahead, save money that could be wasted on poor decisions. God is going to truly give you the advantage. And let me just tell you, this is not something you can do on your own. This is how the grace of God comes on you. My favorite definition of grace is the power of God coming on you to do with ease what you could never do on your own. That's how you're going to gain the advantage. It's like you've done everything you know to do in the natural. Now the supernatural is going to take over. So I want you to get this. Like I said, for a donation of any amount, whatever's on your heart, I want to send you this, and listen to it over and over until it gets down on the inside of you and you say, Lord, I want that advantage. So don't look at the years you've lost. Let's look at the years you've got left and live your dreams.
You can prosper and succeed when others struggle and worry because you have an advantage. You can enjoy new opportunities and favor when others are stuck in a rut because you have an advantage. As a thank you for your ministry gift of any amount, Terri would like to send you her vital teaching, The Advantage. You'll discover the benefits and blessings that come from a life of integrity, practical ways to develop this advantage in your life, how success and breakthroughs can be hindered or accelerated, and much more. Don't go another day limited or confused when God has so much more for you. Get the advantage today by calling toll-free 888-844-7933 or visit us at Terri.com. And with your ministry donation of any amount, we'll send you this valuable resource as our thank you for your generous support. Call or go online today to get the advantage that brings promotion, rewards, and success.
I think it's one thing to have a plan, to have a dream for your life, but when you discover God's plan, that's the icing on the cake.
This is more than a women's conference. It is a 2-day event that can propel you into your destiny. Start planning now to join Terri Savelle Foy and thousands of inspiring women from around the world at Icing 2017. Don't miss out on this life-changing weekend filled with empowering, purpose-driven worship, teaching, and fellowship. Besides, who doesn't love free cupcakes? We'll see you at Icing 2017, October 13th and 14th at the Will Rogers Coliseum in Fort Worth, Texas. For more information and to register, visit us at Terri.com. Don't hesitate. Register today.